Welcome to the Morning Serve. Casey Dellacqua, Sam Stosur here. Very excited. It is the weekend that we've all been counting down to. So let's take a look back at the tournament so far. We did see a number of upsets this year, a number of, I'd say, maybe new faces as well. How would AO 2024 go down for you?
I think the storyline and the narrative around how competitive tennis is now, the depth in the game, new faces, new storylines, I think that's what the AO 24, when I think about it, I'll probably remember.
Yeah, likewise. I think, it's great to see Sabalenka into the final again, being that dominant force that she was last year as well. And obviously the youngsters are trying to break through, but it's still someone with more experience who's obviously getting to that latter stage.
Is there a player across both the men and the women's that, you sort of got to know a little bit more, you became a bit more of a fan of this tournament?
Well, I think Qinwen for me has been the standout. I think getting to know, a new face on tour. She was obviously the newcomer of the year, but I think for the general public and for Australia, particularly for tennis in Asia Pacific region, to get someone like her through the tournament has been pretty massive for the tournament, and I know there's going to be billions and billions of eyes on that women's final tonight.
So Nine's Wide World of Sports. We obviously have all the majors. Is there someone now after this AO campaign you're really looking forward to seeing later on in the year?
Oh, look, again, Sabalenka, I've loved the way she's played all summer. I'm really fascinated to see if she can continue on like she did last year, making obviously semi-finals and finals of every Grand Slam. So if she can continue that, she's actually going to become probably, I think, the top player in the world, firstly in the rankings, and then be, in that echelon of players, of legends that we think about, being able to do that on a continual basis.
All right, well, let's have a look at a little bit closer of the women's final. Sabalenka and Zheng, obviously. For Zheng, we've sort of gotten to know her a little bit. There's been a couple of moments where she's been doing media. She spoke about karaoke. We're starting to see that personality come out.
Well, Zheng doesn't mind a bit of a sing-along. She actually sung after the trophy presentation of a tournament she won in China late last year. So she doesn't mind belting out a few tunes and a bit of karaoke. So it's nice to see the personalities come through. Obviously, Li Na was a bit of an idol for her, and she certainly had a personality, so she's really following in her footsteps.
And she's spoken a lot about the fact that this is an absolute dream to make the final here. How does she ensure that she doesn't get overawed by the occasion that this is? Because this is an almighty occasion.
It certainly is, and when you think about her career and the shortness of her career, it's a big moment. She's talked a lot about destiny and the fact that she's here on the anniversary of Li Na winning 10 years ago here at the Australian Open. But look, she seems like a very mature young woman to me, and I think even seeing her through from the quarterfinal stage to the final, I feel like her composure on court, sometimes her tennis perhaps is being not immature but patchy at different times, but I think all in all her mindset, she's mature, and I feel like if anything, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, but I feel like she's probably quite ready for this moment.
I actually really agree. I think also having the coaching team around her that she does in Per Reba, he was part of the team that helped Coco Gauff win the US Open last year. So I think having a coach in the player's box, helping you through those moments. He knows what a player's going to feel like. He knows, what to say at the right time. So I think she can really use the people around her to help her through this moment if there is, moments of some adversity.
Has she been tested on her way to this final? Because looking at the players that she has played, not a lot of them are ranked quite highly. I think the highest ranked player that she has faced is world number 54 in Katie Boulter.
Yeah, look, I think she had her first round was a tough three-setter, but I think it was the third round against compatriot Wang that was a tough one. And I think it's always hard when you play a fellow countrywoman that you're out there on court, and obviously they're both, fighting to get into that fourth round. Look, I think perhaps if you're talking about rankings of players, maybe not so much, but I think that probably doesn't play too much of a part when you get to the final stages. She's had, I think, around 11 hours of court time, so she's well and truly adjusted to the environment. And also, just on that, Zheng was actually the first international player that arrived into Australia before anyone else. She arrived into Perth on like the 22nd or 23rd of December. So she has been here for so long. She's so well prepared, and she's been fighting for this moment tonight.
What about Sabalenka? We saw her in action. She's so strong. Seeing her on the court, she's such a force to be reckoned with. Being the reigning champion, how much extra pressure does that come with?
Oh, look, it can create a little bit of extra pressure, but I think probably more so in the earlier stages of the tournament when you're going out there, everyone's talking about defending your title and you want to get through that first round. And then I think as you actually start progressing through and then you're into the final, you're one match away. It's like there's enough pressure and things to think about without worrying about defending it. So I think she's handled it really well. I think she seemed really kind of carefree, pretty relaxed, at least in her pre-match, routines and everything. And she's going out there and playing like someone who truly believes she should be in this position again.
She does. She looks like she's really enjoying herself. She looks the most like she's enjoying it the most of anyone here at the Australian Open.
Yeah, it's really nice for us to see the women really have that personality, be relaxed with their team in their own environment. And obviously Sabalenka's got a few little quirks, which I think we've all seen, which have been fantastic. It's the way she warms up, whether it's drawings on her strength and conditioning's head or whatever it might be. And I think even just hearing her speak, you can tell how much she has this connection with Australia, Rod Laver Arena, and how much she loves playing here.
So if you're her coach, what advice would you be giving her as she heads into this match?
If I was Sabalenka's coach, I'd probably be telling her to continue to think about the process as opposed to perhaps the outcome. I think we've seen the type of tennis that she's been able to produce: big hitting, big ground strokes, big returning, consistency in play, and what she's trying to do. And I think if she thinks about her processes and what she needs to, I feel like the outcome that she wants will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if talking about, tactics and how you want to play the match, I think a lot of it's going to be, down to her. Is she going to be aggressive enough? Can she keep up the great serving that she's been doing? And obviously this return game of hers has been absolutely stunning the whole tournament. So I think Zheng's going to have to be really aware of her first serve percentages. It was a little bit down in her semi-final. And then how she's going to combat the Sabalenka return.
If she does pull it off and goes back-to-back here at the Australian Open, where does that put her? What legacy does that give her? And what does that do for her career?
Oh, well, I mean, she'll be at least a two-time Grand Slam champion, which is phenomenal in itself. Back-to-back, it's not easy to defend Grand Slam titles. Not too many players always get the opportunity to do so. And then from there, who knows? I think it's only going to catapult her. Like I said earlier, I'm rating her to have a fantastic year, so this would certainly be, a huge step in the right direction for her to continue her kind of dominance over the women's tour at the moment.
Well, she is, you said, she is dominant. How many slams do you see in her future?
I think on a hard court, I think, Australian Open, US Open are going to probably be her preferred slams. I think if she continues to play the way that she has throughout this event, look, I see her getting a handful more, to be honest. I think she's, also just in a great space. I feel like everyone in their career goes through a bit of a purple patch. I remember, Sam, your purple patch when you won the US Open, and I feel like women sometimes just go on these runs, and I feel like Sabalenka's got a few years ahead of her where she can win a few more slams.
Okay, all right, finally, we're going to do some tips. Who are we tipping and in how many sets?
I'm going to go with Sabalenka for the win. I just believe that having a really tough match against Coco Gauff was actually really good for her. She got through it. There was some tough moments. She was ahead, had to fight back. So I think that's going to set her up for a final. So I'm going to go Sabalenka, but I'm going to go, it will still be tight, but she's going to win.
I'm going Sabalenka too. I thought she'd win the tournament way back during the Brisbane International, so I can't, get off the bandwagon now with one match to go. So I think Sabalenka in straight sets, but I think it'll be a competitive match.
Okay, for Zheng to cause an upset for the two of you, what does she need to do and do well?
Again, I think serve well. She's got to be really wary of her first serve percentage. She wins a high percentage when it goes in, but she's not going to be wanting to hit too many second serves against Sabalenka. I think that's going to be a really important point for her to be able to hold serve, and then hopefully she can relax on some of these return games, use her big ground strokes. Movement's going to be really key against Sabalenka's big ground strokes. We've seen what she's capable of, but now, again, it's a step up in competition, so she's going to have to handle the moment and the opponent.
Okay.
I might just echo what Sam said. I think I absolutely agree. And I think for me, if we just touch on the kind of nerves, the emotion side of it, I think she's going to have to handle that. And because if you can control that, often the game flows and your serve will kind of happen and everything happens much more easily. So, yeah, I think just be in that right headspace.
The mental game.
Yeah.
The mental game is going to be key.
Yeah, absolutely. And same for Sabalenka. You know, I know she seemed relaxed, and I know. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pass it to Sam for this question because she has played a Grand Slam major singles final, and I just can only imagine going out there. It's you and your opponent. It's like a game of chess. Who can deal with things at the moment? And I'm just think Sabalenka's ready to deal with that moment, maybe a little bit more than Zheng.
Oh, for the first time you're in a Grand Slam final, it is daunting, it's scary. I mean, every single time you're in that position, it is. But if you've been in it more than once, you know what that is going to feel like. And you've got, your processes and things in place to combat anything that you might feel. Doing it for the first time, obviously, players do win the first time they're in Grand Slam finals. But when you're up against someone with the amount of experience Sabalenka has, I think it has, something to play for today.
All right, well, we all know we're set for an almighty battle coming up later on. Tune in to Channel 9's Wide World of Sport. Ladies, thank you.
Thank you.
Wide World of Sports is your home of the Australian Open.
With highlights of every match of the AO, the on-court interviews, and every day with the morning serve, you'll be ahead of the game.
So click that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing this Australian Open.